wanted to buy a Z06 Stingray or Porsche Cayman. I saved up about $20,000 for a down payment, and before I actually got something, I had some job troubles, so I couldn't afford it anymore. But I always liked motorcycles, and I've been watching them, so I looked up the R1. 2015 had just come out, and I decided that I'd buy one instead of one of those. I considered the ZX10 and the S1000. I took the MSF course, and I decided that I'd buy the bike in a few months. It turned out to be around a year later that I'd actually buy it. People told me that I was retarded for buying one. They said that getting a motorcycle was fine, but getting 1,000 was nonsense. I did it anyway. Months afterward, I don't have any crash stories or any stories about me almost being dead. I can tell you that about a month after I started riding, I was good enough to do 160 while it was raining. So I started on 1,000. I looked for other people who have, but I could never actually find anything from them. It was always a rumor or something. People like to say, oh, well, I heard about someone doing it once, but you shouldn't do it. It's always someone who you don't actually know and no one else can get in contact with. So I decided to make a video and tell you that I did it. It's not difficult, and it's nowhere near as hard. It's not even close to being as hard as people like to make it seem. And all those people who told me that I would be dead if I got on one, they don't really have anything to say now. They're just like, oh yeah, he got that as his first bike. But the first day that I had it, they're like, yeah, man, he's gonna get in an accident, he's gonna wreck that. So, what about you? Can you start on 1,000? If you can fit on 1,000, you can start on 1,000. That's all that I have to say. But all these other people say, well, what about this guy who started on a 600 or this guy who started on 1,000? They're both dead. Well, as you know, you can start on a 250 and die. It's all about learning how to ride a motorcycle properly. A few key rules that you should know. Motorcycles break worse than cars. Even if you have the best motorcycle and the best rider, you'll still break worse than a car will. So keep that in mind when you're doing high speed. Second, motorcycles are manual. Basically every motorcycle you can get, especially the fast ones, are manual. So you'll have to learn about engine dynamics. You can do all that while you're riding, and you can't do that while you're looking it up online. You just have to ride it. If you want 1,000, I would highly advise that you don't buy a new one. New ones are very expensive, and they're basically the same as the old ones. The only difference really is the electronics, and the electronics are not going to help you. I used to think that the electronics were necessary. I thought they would save my life, and they won't. If you don't know how to ride a motorcycle, electronics won't help you. Well, what about the ABS? They said that cuts down on accidents. If you don't know how to ride a motorcycle and you go into a corner at 140 and you were supposed to go in at 50, the ABS will not do anything to help you. The electronics are there for people who already know how to ride but need a little bit of help. And honestly, all these people in these videos talking about how great the electronics are, you don't need any electronics. If you want to be safe, you don't need electronics. If you want to be fast, you don't need electronics. Electronics stop you from being as safe as you can, and electronics stop you from learning. I kept all the electronics on for a while, but I slowly started turning them off, and I couldn't tell the difference. I thought the bag was going to turn into this ridiculous monster when I turned them off, but I turned them all off, and there's no difference. If you turn down the power, it won't become a 600. People who think that are wrong. My bike is still fast in its lowest power mode. So, getting into the next issue, you shouldn't buy a newer 1000 because if you want to upgrade one like I did, it's going to cost you around $10,000. And the bike is already like $15,000. I should have just gotten the older, maybe $8,000 R1 and then done all the upgrades, because that would have been faster than my bike is right now. I spent $15,000 on a bike, and I could have just gotten an older one and upgraded it. I talked to my mechanics and they said I should get new brake lines, new brake pads, carbon fiber rims, get a power commander, get the exhaust done, get new shocks. All that was going to be $10,000, and I could have just done it to an older one. So you can buy a new one if you want, but I'd highly advise against it, especially since they don't have the problems worked out on these newer bikes yet. I mean, my bike had a safety recall, so that shows you how that works. But yeah, months after starting on a 1000, I do not regret it. I just regret my choice of 1000. And just saying that it can be done, and it can be done pretty easily.